Americans spent over $600 billion on remodeling last year, according to NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and 18% of people they surveyed did so to sell their home within the next couple years. But here's the problem: a lot of that money was wasted. And I recently helped a family sell an inherited home they hadn't updated in 30 years, and they wanted to just fix a few things. And what they didn't realize, that most of those fixes wouldn't raise the sales price at all. So today, I'm going to break down 9 things you should never fix before selling so you don't make those same mistakes. Now, from all my years of experience of flipping homes, helping others buy and sell homes, the one thing that I feel most of us struggle with is what to fix before selling the home. And sometimes it's as easy as paint and carpet, but other times it is really best to leave it alone altogether. And many people, they can't get out of their own way. They just start doing things here and there, and to the point that they end up doing way too much and doing things that the new buyers just didn't care if they were done in the first place. And that's where you need a good experienced professional on your side to guide you through this process. Now, for instance, the first thing on my list are the windows. Now, yes, windows, they can be a good investment if you're doing it to live in your home, but to do it to sell your home, not such a great return on investment. And like the inherited home that I helped that family with, those windows were old and they all wanted to replace them. And they thought that that $50,000 bid that they got was going to help them get a big return on that investment. But sorry to say, I told them that they had no reason to do that because it really wouldn't do so. And they were better off pricing the home accordingly, as again, I did not want them to waste money and not get their money back, especially on that quote. I mean, I don't see where anybody would need to spend $50,000 on windows on a home like that, and especially in the area and so forth. And from my experience flipping houses, you can get nice windows way below those prices. And for you as a potential seller, here's some things that you can do on this. Just clean the windows. Fix any of those screens that may be ripped. I mean, you can go to places like Home Depot or Ace Hardware and they can rescreen those for you. They also have those do-it-yourself kits, which are easy to do as well. But sometimes it's best just to take all of them down and put them in the corner in the garage or in a shed somewhere and let the new buyer deal with them. But this isn't to hide those screens. It's just to make it look better, because once you clean those windows and they are clear to look out, it just makes a huge difference. But again, don't do it to just hide those screens. Make sure everybody's fully aware of the screens if you're not going to replace those. Now, next on the list, number 2 is the roof. Now, many people, they want to replace a roof because they think they have to, as they feel it's old and it's going to be expected. But hey, not so fast. Of course, if the roof leaks or, there's real damage to it, then yes, you may have to look at filing an insurance claim. But if you don't know if there's any damage and so forth, here's something you can do instead. Whenever I list a home for people, I have my roofer go out. He walks it, and he'll let me know if he can do something that's called a roof certification. And these are usually good for 5 years and can go on to the new buyer. And that certification is just another good way to show that the roof has been inspected by a licensed professional and is in good enough shape that it was certifiable. And also, if it's not in good condition, that roofer then can assist you in filing a claim to replace or repair the roof. But just be careful on this. Many roofers out there, they're going to try to tell you that you need to file a claim instead, as let's face it, more roofs nowadays have a lot of leniency for replacement. But many of the homeowners, they don't know that it's not free money, and it will impact their future insurance for that loss, and it hits their premiums hard later. So just be careful when you are going through this process and work with reputable professionals, because on that one, there are a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that will try to rip you off. So be careful on that one. Now, number 3 on the list, you don't need to replace your appliances. Now, again, this goes for the condition of the whole house. If the house hasn't been updated in many years and those appliances kind of go with the flow of the house, then leave them alone. The only time that you should replace any appliance is, say, if the dishwasher doesn't work and it leaks, or the refrigerator doesn't cool and so forth, then yes, you're going to want to replace those. But to go get a brand new package to put in there thinking that it's going to help you get more money just isn't going to happen. And of course, if you've done a full home renovation, then of course it makes sense for the appliances. But again, everybody has their own taste in it. When I'm out with buyers, some people prefer white appliances still. Some people want stainless. Some people want black appliances. And then, oh my gosh, all the different brands out there. So you have a big audience to cater to when you're doing appliances. And if you have no reason to put new ones in, then I say just leave those alone and let the new buyer deal with those. Now, the next thing on the list is your plumbing. You don't need to go and redo the plumbing in your house. I've had people ask me because it's an old house, has cast piping in there, and they feel like they need to upgrade all that. And sometimes these plumbing outfits will tell you to, but if everything's working, then just leave it alone. I mean, there are exceptions to this if your sink leaks, toilet leaks. And again, the one thing that most people don't know about is your sewer line. If that's compromised, then during the inspection, the buyers will come back to you on that one. But also with that, make sure that you have reputable companies helping with this as well, as there's a lot of scams in those sewer lines as well. But as far as upfront replacing all your plumbing, no need to do so, only if you know it leaks and so forth. And another important thing, put it on your property disclosure if you know anything about any plumbing issues at all. Don't get yourself sued out there. Now, number 5 is the electrical. And this is another thing that kind of goes with the plumbing. People feel like they may need to rewire their home because of the age of the house and so forth. And you don't need to do that. If you have a switch that doesn't work, or your outlet is loose, or you have a GFCI that just isn't working properly, then of course you're going to want to replace that. And maybe if you've painted your walls, put new faceplates on, you've all seen those dingy looking switches and outlets after you put those new covers on, then you may want to replace all that. That can be done fairly inexpensive. And if you're able to do it yourself, you'll really save a lot of money. It's really not that hard, but if you don't like electricity, afraid you're going to get shocked or something, then always hire a professional for that. But again, you don't need to drop huge money up front on the electrical. Now, number 6, this one hits me hard all the time when I'm buying a house to renovate, and that's the landscaping. You want good curb appeal when that new buyer is going to look at your property, and especially in the market we're in now. And landscaping can make a difference, but you don't need to go out and do retaining walls and an outdoor kitchen and a water feature. No. All you need to do, go clean up those flower beds, put some new mulch out, clean up the rock if it has weeds in it, trim the trees, cut down the old branches, mow your yard and trim it nice, pull the weeds, and that'll make a huge difference when that buyer comes. And that is just good old-fashioned elbow grease. You don't need to drop big money doing that. So don't feel like you need to go out and professionally landscape your yard. Now, if you're like me, when I buy my project homes and the yards are disaster, I have to do a little more extensive landscaping just because the lack of yard on the house. And I hate putting that money into it because, let's face it, you don't really get a lot of return on your investment. But the return on investment is the fact that the house will sell quicker. Number 7 on the list is concrete. And this is another big one for people. They feel if they have worn out looking concrete, say it's just dirty looking, or there's some cracks, maybe settling a bit, they think they got to go out and completely replace it. And you don't need to. There's some things you can try up front. You can seal up those cracks, get a pressure washer out, and spend the day just spraying off the concrete. You'll be surprised how that concrete will clean up. And if you have that patio, or maybe a section of your driveway that maybe settled a bit, like out here in Colorado, we have expansive soils and our flat work just gets destroyed out here. But you can do what's called mud jacking, where they can lift the concrete. They also have this foam they can use. Now, that tends to get a little more expensive, but there are other avenues you can take without having to completely tear out and replace things. But again, if the thing is shot, then that may be something you have to consider. But see if you can get around it by doing those other items first. Number 8 is flooring. Now, this can be a big one here. Like I've said earlier, paint and carpet can go a long ways, but this all depends again on the flow of the house. If the rest of the house is dated or original, then leave those wood floors alone. Don't go out and refinish them thinking you're going to get more money. Also, if you have that green shag carpet covering those wood floors, roll that off, and that will look much better than putting, say, new carpet down or refinishing the floors. And people like myself walk into these old homes and see those old original wood floors that have been kept up because carpet had been on top of them. So you don't need to go and replace those. Again, this is a case by case again on the rest of the house, but that flooring can definitely also be a good return on investment if you have to do anything. But if you have, say, stains, rips, whatever, put some rugs down when you're showing the house that make it look a little better, but don't do it to hide it. Let me stress that. Put it on the property disclosure. Let it be known that there are items wrong with the flooring so the new buyers understand, but you're just putting those rugs down to give it a better look. So just remember that. Now, number 9, this is a big one. People in these old homes especially, they're like, I'm going to remodel the bathroom and the rest of the house hasn't been touched. Or the basement isn't finished, so they're going to finish the basement as the rest of the house hasn't been updated, thinking that's going to help. Or they even opt to add more square footage. Like out here, these older homes, people are converting garages to living areas. This one's a big one here. This can really cause new buyers to wonder what's going on. For instance, if you updated a bathroom but nothing else, they may be like, well, what happened in the bathroom that caused this? And I always tell my home sellers, if you do one area and you don't do the rest, it can make that house look worse than it does as it sits. So really keep that in mind. Again, if you really question all of this, again, work with a good professional. I have a contact link down below. You can reach out to me anytime. I can connect you with a good professional in your area that's experienced with this, or I can answer questions for you as well on this one. But just be cautious. Same with the finished basement or adding that living area in a garage. Out here in Colorado, people want garages for storage and to put their cars in the wintertime. So not always a good idea to do. And again, on this one, like many of the other items I've discussed, it's all case by case based upon the home. So keep that in mind. Well, I hope you can see that you don't need to break the bank when you're selling your home. If you have a home, say you inherited an older home that does need work and so forth, there are littler things you can do or shortcuts you can do without having to do a major renovation. And again, some of these items I covered, make sure you disclose it to the buyer if there's issues with anything. Don't ever try to cover anything up. That won't do anyone any good. Don't want you to get sued. And also, if you found all this beneficial, please share it with somebody else you think might benefit from this. And also, until next time, stay tuned for this new video that's coming up next.